I'm running away from this pain. I'm trying to find a new way where the sun's shining down on my face. I'm running away. You're in a toxic relationship. Time to be free. Trying to find a new way where the sun's shining down on my face. I'm running away. You're in a toxic relationship. Time to be free.
Alright, welcome once again to X-Plane 11, and this afternoon we're in the Toliss A319 and we're going to be taking it down from Johannesburg, South Africa to Durban, also in South Africa. It's about an hour and a half, hour and 25 minutes in the air, so a relatively short flight, but let's get everything set up and ready to go. So first thing I'm going to do is get FS passengers running. So let's just finalize our briefing in SimBrief. So we are South African Airways, so Springbok flight 527 from Johannesburg to Durban. Airbus A319, we've got 105 passengers on board today. Scheduled time en route 1 hour 30. Departing runway 03 left. Right, so let's just export this from SimBrief. And there we go. Now we can actually pull up our flight plan over here. So we are flying from Johannesburg, which is Foxtrot Alpha Oscar Romeo, and we are going to Foxtrot Alpha Lima Echo, which is this one. Springbok 527. Okay, let's start getting our passengers loaded. There we go. And we can start prepping for takeoff. Well, for startup actually. Okay, so battery 1 and 2 are on. Recorded ground control is on. External power is on. Fuel pumps all off. Fuel will set in a moment. Let's test our APU fire. That's tested. APU master. And we'll bring the nav lights on to indicate that we have power. We'll wait for the flap open signal, and while we do that, let's just set the brightness of our displays. There is flap open. So we can go ahead and start the APU. Then let's make sure our flaps are all up. Speed brake retracted. We'll turn our probe and window heat on to auto. We'll wait for the APU to start up. Okay, let's go ahead and turn our APU bleed on. Okay, on the air conditioning panel, which is this one, all white lights off, checked. Crossbleed on auto, which it is. Temperature as required. It's kind of cold today, and we have 107 packs, less than 115, so pack flow to low. Okay, Gen 1 and 2 fault lights should be on, which they are. External power can now come off, and we've switched over to the APU. Check, and then ventilation panel, all lights off. That is checked. Okay, onto the pre-flights. Addons can all come to nav, on bat, wait for it to extinguish. That's checked. 3 to nav. And 2 to nav. Strobe light set to auto, which we won't do because we're flying on I can't think of the name now. Star Alliance Virtual, and it tracks whether your lights are set correctly, and they want us to have our strobe lights on entering the runway, whereas if we set it to auto, it only activates when we take off, so we'll set that manually when we enter the runway. Okay, nav lights on system 1. I generally use system 1 when I'm flying away from the hub, and I use system 2 flying back to the hub, just so that we cycle them and we don't use the same one all the time. It's just an easy way to remember. It's probably not the right way, it's probably not the best way, but it's just the way that I do it. Okay, seatbelt signs can come on, no smoking to auto, and we can on the emergency lights. Landing elevation should be set to auto, which it is. Pack flow set to low, less than 115 packs. Let's now go and set our fuel. So our block fuel today will do 5.8. Let's go and open up our Toliss screen here. Okay, so block fuel we need 5.8, and our zero fuel weight for today, we actually have 105 passengers. There's 105 packs, and then our zero fuel weight is 54.7, so we need to push up this just a bit, and we can apply those settings. Just want to double check something. So I tried this flight last night actually, and with the faults in the default position, I had about 6 faults before I even left the SID. So I don't know if I had this set too low. I didn't actually change it, but I've now turned it almost all the way up. It's still on, so we still have a chance of having some faults, but let's see if we have any issues on our flight today. Okay, so that's set. We'll come back to this screen just now. Okay, now that our fuel is loaded, we can turn all of our fuel pumps on and test our engine 1 and 2 fire systems. So engine 1's tested and engine 2 tested. Turn on all the radios. And let's go and set up our route. So we'll go to the init page. Let's load up our flight plan. So we're going down to Durban. We can start aligning our navigation system. And we are South African Airways 527? 527.
On behalf of the cabin crew, I'd like to welcome you aboard our
Cost
flight.
index is
As you
5
climb,
today,
Be sure to place your larger carry-on items in the overhead bins.
and our
smaller
cruise
items
altitude
underneath in front
350.
of you. If you have trouble finding a location for any of your carry-on items, please use the flight attendant call button over your seat and
Let's
somebody
bring
will
up our
assist you. If the overhead bin
load
is full
screen
after
again.
you put your carry-on inside of it, please close the bin as a courtesy to other passengers.
Okay, so our
Once
zero
all
fuel
your
weight,
items are put away, please clear the aisle
54.7.
and sit down in your seat to allow other passengers to find their seats as well. If you are seated in an emergency
And
exit row,
31.9.
please read the exit seating responsibilities in the safety card in the seat back in front of you.
Our block today
Please
is
make sure you are willing and able to
5.8.
perform the actions required. If you are not able or prefer not to perform these actions, please let a flight attendant know so you can be reseated. You are free to use your portable electronic devices during the boarding process.
Okay, let's
We ask
go
that
across
larger
to our
electronic
flight
devices
plan.
are stowed once we depart from the gate.
And
Thank
today
you, and
we
welcome
are
aboard.
departing from 03 left. And I believe we're on the FDAC 3 Alpha. Let's double check. That's correct. So FDAC 3 Alpha. Let's insert that. That looks good. Double check all of that. Don't see any issues there. And let's head over to our performance. I'm gonna need this screen again. Right, so now that we have set our runway and departure, we can set our flaps to takeoff, and that tells us that our trim will be down 0.7. So we're gonna set 2/down 0.7. Put that into our flaps, and we're flexing to 57 this afternoon. Well, it's actually morning in the sim, but afternoon in real life. And then we're going to go V1 149. V2 is also 149. Sorry, V rotate 149. V2 is 152. Alright, that's all set. Okay. So FMC is all set. Now we just need to wait for our passengers to finish boarding. But in the meantime, let's go and get our weather for Johannesburg. Okay, so winds 350 at 16 knots. Our altimeter is 1017. So that's set. Our cruise altitude today is 350. Okay, our flight directives are on. Speed is dashed. Heading is not yet dashed because our our ADIS is still aligning, and our altitude is set. Right, let's go ahead and see how far our boarding is.
We're still boarding. Let us know if you need anything.
Okay, so they've got about 4 minutes left until the cabin is ready, until all the passengers are on board and we're ready to go. So our expected departure is still in 27 minutes, so let's let them know that we're going to be leaving a little bit early, just so that our passengers are aware.
We're ready to go when you are.
Okay, so there's our cabin ready. I'm just
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard Flight
sorting out some
527.
charts.
Our flight time will be roughly 1 hour and 44 minutes. Now that the cabin door is closed, please make sure that all devices are in airplane mode and your large devices are now shut down and stowed. Please fasten your seatbelt and make sure that all tray tables and seat backs are in a full upright and locked position for departure. Cabin crew, prepare cabin for departure.
Okay, here's our departure. So we're taking off from runway 03 left, At 5.5 DME, we turn right to heading 101. And then we intercept the R152 from the Waterkloof FAOR. Out to Addons. And we're going to climb to flight level 090. And we need to cross 15 DME from the Johannesburg FAOR at flight level 090. So let's make sure we've got that dialed in, which we do. So we'll have our DME down there. So we need to be above 090 at 15 DME. That's pretty simple. Okay, so let's go and sort out our pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Okay, before pushback, altimeter is set. Flight directors are both on. Speed dashed. Heading is dashed. Altitude set to cleared altitude. Anti-skid nose wheel steering is on. Switching panel. All normal. Transponder we haven't set yet. We're on standby. And let's turn the beacon on. And there's our pushback vehicle, which is going to connect soon. Right, then we're ready for engine start.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
So we are here at Charlie 3, and we are going to taxi Lima Alpha to full length for runway 03 left.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Alright, let's double check that our lights are set. RS is aligned, we can clear that message, and let's release the parking brake, so we are good to go.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
We're clear on the left. So let's go master switch to ignition. And we'll go engine 1. Actually, we'll start engine 2 first. Engine 2, master on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your complete attention to the flight attendants as
There
they
comes the
demonstrate
N2.
the safety features of our aircraft. You will notice a light illuminated above your seat. When this light is illuminated, please fasten your seatbelts low and tight across your lap. To fasten, insert the metal fittings into one another and tighten by pulling on the loose end of the strap. To release your
Pressure's
seatbelt,
coming
lift
up.
the upper portion of the buckle. We suggest that you keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the flight as we may experience unexpected turbulence.
And there comes the
There are
temperature,
several emergency
and the
exits on
N1's
this aircraft.
rising.
Please take a few moments now to locate your nearest exit. In some cases, your nearest exit may be behind you. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, floor-level lighting will guide you towards the exit. In the event of a decompression, an oxygen mask will drop in front of you. To start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you. Place it firmly over your nose and mouth, secure the elastic band behind your head, tighten the
Okay,
straps
engine
if
2 is
necessary,
stable. Let's
and
start
breathe
engine 1.
normally. Although the bag does not inflate, oxygen is flowing to the mask. If you are traveling with a child or someone who requires assistance, Secure your mask on first and then assist others. Keep your mask on until a member of the crew advises you it is safe to remove it. In the unlikely event of a water landing, a life vest is located in a pouch under your seat or between the armrests. When instructed to do so, open the plastic pouch and remove the vest. Flip it over your head. Wrap the straps around your waist and buckle at the front. Hold the straps
Operation
tightly.
complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Okay, so N2's there. Temp's rising, everyone's rising. Let's set the parking brake so they can disconnect.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
With a whistle and light. If necessary, your seat cushion can be used as a secondary flotation device. Pull the cushion from the seat, slip your arms into the straps, and hug the cushion to your chest. Please securely
Right, so that's
stow your
our
personal items.
electrical
Make sure your
system
seatbelts are
switching
fastened
over.
And seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying the smoke detectors located in the lavatories is
And engine
prohibited
1 is
by
stable.
law. All of this information
Just give them
can
the
be found
signal
in
to
the safety card
disconnect.
located in the seat back in front of you.
And our master
Please
mode
read it
can
and let a
go
cabin
to
member know if you
normal.
have any questions. Thank you for
If
flying
you
so
bleed can
Jen,
come
we
off.
hope you enjoy your flight.
We don't need any anti-ice. And APU master switch off. Let's check the doors.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have fun up there.
Okay, doors are closed and armed. We will wait for them to move out of the way. And watch for the hand signal. There it is. So we can go nose light to taxi, runway turn off lights can come on. Flaps 2. Auto brakes to max. Arm the ground spoilers. Predictive wind shear can come on, and our weather radar can come on. Okay. Then we will set our elapsed time to run. Terrain on co-pilot side. Let's release the parking brake and taxi out. Once again, we taxi through the very correctly placed street light.
Please note the cabin lights will be dimmed for departure and landing. If you require additional lighting, there is a reading light on the panel above you.
And we'll check the brakes. Brakes checked. Let's check flight controls. And don't mind all the baggage carts, which are just randomly moving around. So let's go full left and neutral, full right, neutral, full up, neutral, full down, neutral. We would normally check the rudders, but that's obviously linked to my nose wheel steering, which is clearly working. Slow down a bit here for the turn. Okay, FNA should say nav and climb, which it does. Water brake set to max. Terrain set. Let's signal cabin. And we'll test our takeoff config. And we have takeoff no blue. can hold short here. Double check that it is 03 left, which it is. And we'll just set the parking brake so we don't roll forward. And let's do our before takeoff procedure. So transponder all the way over to TARA. Brake temps we check less than 150, sorry, less than 300, which they all are. Engine mode normal, runway turn off lights are on, landing lights can come on, strobes can come on, and nose wheel light to take off. Release the parking brake, and here we go. Okay, so once we're in position and ready to go, we're going to start the chrono. We're going to advance the throttle to 50%, wait to check that it's stable, release the brakes up to flex. We're going to keep the stick forward until 80 knots. And then continue on to V1 and rotate. Once we have a positive climb, gear comes up. And we engage the autopilot, disarm the spoilers, turn off the nose wheel lights, and turn off the runway turn off lights. So let's go, chrono start, engines up to 50%. Let them stabilize there, release the brakes, and there's our flex power. We have SRS, we have runway. Stick forward until 80 knots. $80 knots. There's V1 and rotate. Positive rate, gear up. We'll go autopilot 1 on. When we turn off lights can come off, along with our nose wheel light. And ground spoilers disarm. Okay, there's our thrust reduction. So we'll go back, thrust levers to climb, and flaps 1. Remember, on our SID we want to check that we are, we can stop the chrono because we're in climb thrust now. We need to cross 9,000 feet before 15 DME. At 5.5 we should turn to the right. There's 5.5 and we are turning to the right. And check speed, flaps 0. Okay, we're above 8,000 feet, let's go standard. 6.5 DME and we're at 8.5, so we're going to cross 9,000 feet easily before 15 DME. Our outside air temperature at the moment is 18 degrees, so no need for anti-ice. Coming up to 10,000 feet. There's 10,000, so we'll go landing lights off. Okay, we're about to intercept that radial, which will take us all the way out to Addons.
Gentlemen, we have now passed 10,000 feet. You may turn on larger portable electronic devices. This is also a reminder to please keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the duration of the flight and do not form a line near the lavatory. This aircraft is equipped with onboard Wi-Fi. If you wish to connect to the Wi-Fi, you will be required to pay a small fee. We do offer complimentary in-flight TV thanks to our partners. Connect to the Wi-Fi to find out more information.
So what's interesting about this flight is because it's actually such a short flight time, if we have a look here, you'll see that we kind of just reach our cruise altitude, and it's only about 20 minutes or so before we're hitting descent, maybe even less, depending on the route. So I've actually flown on this flight a few times for rail, and it's always so strange. It feels like you just reach cruise, they quickly run around and give everyone snacks and drinks, and then you have to fasten your seatbelts again and you're on descent. So let's go and turn off our seatbelt signs. I was wondering if we'd have a little bit of turbulence because it's been rather storming here today, but it seems to be alright. And let's just set that to check for turbulence. Nothing on the weather radar at the moment. All the systems looking good so far. Let's just check our temperatures. We're at 24 degrees. Which looks good. obviously reaching the point there where my photo scenery ends. Having flown a lot of Flight Simulator 2020, I've gotten used to just having that photoreal scenery everywhere. But when we're up at 35,000 feet, it doesn't make that much of a difference really. Must say, still haven't had much success with the airliners in Flight Sim 2020. Obviously there's a lot of work being done on the default aircraft, and we have of course got developers bringing payware airliners to the sim, but it's still going to be a while before that happens. So for now I'm quite happy getting back into X-Plane for the tube liners. And of course one of the smaller ones today, the baby bus A319. Possibly look at doing the Zevo 737 as well at some point, and also the A330 maybe. I might even look at going back to FSX and do some of the PMDG, the 747 and the 777. So just passing 29,000 feet now. And it looks like we are expecting 4.1 fuel on board at our destination, which is well within limits, so no issues there. Just above the cloud layer now, a few clouds out in front of us, nothing significant on the weather radar at this time. I do have it on, right? Yes, I do. We'll go and set these to auto as well. Yeah, just about nearing our top of climb. What I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and reset the chrono. And I'm actually just going to measure how long we are from top of climb to top of descent, because it is really short on this flight. So as soon as we hit 35,000 feet, I'll flip that chrono on and we can measure it up until we start our descent. Hey, William in the comments says, hi, how's it, William? How are you doing? I take it from your profile picture you're from Brazil? Fantastic. Thanks for tuning in all the way from Brazil. I'm over in South Africa and flying in South Africa at the moment. So it's really cool for you to join in. Okay, so there we are at 35,000 feet. Let's go and hit that chrono and time exactly how long it takes us to get to our top of descent. Okay, we're already being told to enter our destination information, so let's go and do that. So long. We need to program our arrival. So if we go and look at our flight plan, it is the APMAT 1 Alpha for runway 06. So let's go and put in ILS 06, APMAT 1 Alpha. We're not going to use the VIA, and we'll put that in, make sure we're not missing anything. There is a manual section where we would have ATC vectors. Obviously no ATC at the moment, so we'll do that manually. That's all good. Let's go back to our performance. Right, and let me quickly pick up the weather for Durban Kinshasa. So winds 10 degrees at 13 knots, and our QNH is 1013. So let's put in, oh sorry, 1003. Let's put our QNH in. Temperature is 28 degrees at the moment, and we are 10 degrees at 13 knots. And our decision height will be 200 feet. That all looks good. Let's go and double check. We'll bring up that chart. Okay, so we're not going to enter the hold as there's no other traffic. Oh, obviously that's the communication failure, we don't need to do that. So we're going to leave APMAT. Nothing particularly interesting there. We'll be vectored in. So we leave APMAT 191 degrees to Lima Echo 002, which we need to be at 6,300 feet. So we're going to cross above that, which is fine. And then we'll turn right to heading at 242 down to Lima Echo 1 November 1, which we need to be above 5,600, which we will be no problem. We'll then vector ourselves in for runway 06. Okay, so we're looking at about 4.5 minutes to our top of descent. And we've only been at cruise for 4 minutes. Okay, so you're going to play Microsoft Flight Simulator, but you've never played a sim before. So what does the pilot do during the cruise? Well, in reality, now I'm not a real pilot, I'm just a sim pilot, but in reality they've got all sorts of checks and calculations that they'll do. They'll be communicating with air traffic control, but the main thing is making sure that you've got the right amount of fuel, you're in the right place, and you're on time, and that there's no issues with your aircraft. That's what they'll be doing, those checks, and filling out a lot of paperwork during the cruise. In a flight simulator, obviously we don't have to do all that kind of stuff. So there isn't a lot to do in the cruise, if I'm honest, in a flight simulator. So very often you can leave it on autopilot. If I'm not streaming, I'll usually set it up on autopilot and do something else, work on something else nearby where I can keep an eye on it and look every now and then. Also helps if you've got multiple screens, so maybe you can be working on something else. Maybe, I know a lot of people watch a series, watch Netflix or a movie or something, listen to music while you're in the cruise. So yeah, in the simulator, not much to do if you're flying the airliners. If you're flying general aviation, so some of the smaller planes, you don't have to put on autopilot. Hand fly it all the way. Do a short route, fly some circuits where you don't have to engage the autopilot and sit for hours in the cruise. Obviously, you can also, in pretty much all of the simulators, choose to speed up the time. So if you don't want to sit, let's say you're doing a 4-hour flight, you don't want to sit for a full 4 hours doing nothing in the cruise, you can speed up the simulation rate so that you get to the next point at your top of descent where you actually have to, start planning your descent and then approach into the airport. But yeah, they often say that even in real life, and especially in the sim, flying is 15-20 minutes of sheer panic, especially if you're flying with proper air traffic control, where you've got to get all the procedures right, get everything set up in order. Then you sit for 5 hours and do nothing, and then it's another 10-15 minutes of panic as you've got to get all the procedures right and land in the weather, etc., etc. at the other end. So yeah, good question. Not much to do during the cruise. Luckily, as simulator pilots, we don't have to do all the checks and paperwork, so we can kind of chill out a bit, read a book, watch a movie, whatever works for you. No worries about the English, understand you perfectly. It's really cool to have people tuning in from Brazil, so thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I will do my best to answer them for you. I'm not the best pilot in the world, I'm not a real pilot, but I have been simming for about 10 years or so. So I will do my best to answer any questions that you have. And you said you're going to pick up Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm assuming you mean the new one. If so, great choice to start off if you've never simmed before. They've got a lot of kind of lessons that they have there where you can learn how to fly. And they also have assistance in the simulator. So if you're struggling to fly, you can turn on some of the assistance and the computer will help you so that you don't have to take full control over the aircraft all at once. You can kind of ease yourself into it. Alright, and then we've at our top of descent point, so let's stop our chrono. We had a full 8 minutes and 44 seconds in the cruise, and let's engage our descent. Alright, we just had a failure, so I was expecting this to happen because it seems the Toliss system has made failures even more common than normal, and we had engine 1 failure. Okay, so engine mode selected to ignition. Throttle lever 1 back to idle. Engine 1 master switch off. And we need to turn our fuel crossfeed to on. So that would be that one there. Okay, so we've shut down engine 1. Now I don't think the thrust lever is obviously not going to stay there, because I've only got one throttle controller, so as I move them they move together. Okay, so if you do have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Obviously, as I was saying, we've hit the panic stage. This is a bit extreme, the fact that we've had an engine failure. Now we're in the descent already, so I think we're going to continue to land at Durban King Sharka and see if we can make it into our original destination airport. This is going to be interesting. So I was saying before, with this latest update, I don't know if I'm misunderstanding the failure system. Maybe I'm just being really dumb. But this is, I'm assuming, more flights and not more failures. So I've turned it really high up. I mean, it started off in the middle and we had about 6 failures in the space of 10 minutes. I've turned it almost all the way up, and we've still had a failure on every single flight that I've flown it since the update. So, not sure if that's the way it's supposed to be. It seems a little unrealistic. I mean, we had, just last night, in 10 minutes, we had all of our electrical systems fail. We had one of the hydraulic systems fail, and now we've had an engine 1 failure just at the top of descent. So, I'm not sure the failures are supposed to be that frequent, but I guess it makes it a little bit more interesting. We'll have to deal with it and see if we can make it back into Durban. So at the moment, nothing out of the ordinary. We have followed the process. So it says thrust levers move. I wonder if it wants us to put them back to climb. Okay, there we go. So I think it wanted us to just reset them. Obviously we have engine 1 shut down, which means pack 1 and gen 1 are off. We'll be okay. We can fly perfectly fine on just one engine, and we should be able to make it into Durban. We should probably let our passengers know that we've had a bit of an issue. So let's go ahead and let them know that we have had an engine failure, and I'm sure they will be most pleased. There we go. So our satisfaction in PACX just dropped from a good 98 to 34.
Ladies and gentlemen, the flight crew has been advised that there is a problem with the aircraft and we must prepare the cabin for emergency landing. Please stay calm and remember that the flight crew is trained for situations like this. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts. Stow any carry-on items. Return your seat backs and tray tables to their full upright position. Put your armrests down and raise your window shades. Please also locate the nearest emergency exit to you. Doors can be opened by moving the handle in the direction of the arrow. Flight attendants will demonstrate the brace position that you will assume once instructed to do so. To assume the brace position, lean forward with your hands on top of your head and your elbows against your thighs. Ensure your feet are flat on the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, the flight crew has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelt.
Okay, so the cabin crew has just announced there that we've had a slight issue, but we'll deal with it. We'll be fine. No pressure. see our one engine just spooling up to 100% there to acknowledge that it's got this. We can do this. Okay, no, calm down. Don't stop doing that now. Okay, we're still perfectly fine on our descent path. I don't want it to keep doing that though, so I'm going to go into manual control here. Right. It's going to complain about the thrust lever because it's not in the climb position, but I don't want it to keep revving like that, so I'm going to leave it where it is. Let's set up the rest for our landing. I think I'm going to put the auto brakes on to maximum for this. Right, it's not going to work, is it? Oh, okay, it'll give us medium. Good enough. Because, I wonder why, maybe you can't do max auto brake with an engine out? So obviously I'm not going to do reverse thrust when we've got a single engine out, or it's just going to pull us off the runway. So now we've had a battery fault as well. Something's definitely gone wrong in this update with the fault system. I mean, this is insane. But as I was saying, we're not going to go into reverse thrust on the landing with one engine out because it's just going to pull us, in this case only our right engine's working, so it's just going to pull us off the right hand side of the runway. So we're going to have to use the brakes completely for stopping. So I'll use the medium auto brake setting, as it appears we can't engage max with only one engine, but I have a feeling we're going to take manual braking pretty soon. Let's just hope we don't have any more failures, and then we will be fine. So the other thing I want to double check is our ILS approach. So our ILS frequency is 111.3, so let's make sure that that is set. 111.3 is set. And we want to come in at 3,000 feet. I think that's what I said. Yes, I did. Okay, we're getting quite slow now, so I'm just going to throttle up a bit. So I'm not sure Alright. I hope that's just warning about this and we're not having something else go wrong. Yeah. So, I'm pretty sure we should turn these off. So, generator 1 off, battery 1 off. Still complaining about the fault, but I don't think we can get rid of that. Okay, I put my engines back into... I'll put the throttle back into the climb position. Let's see if our engine can manage. Now we've got to land ASAP command there. You don't say. I wonder if we can restart the engine. Why not? Let's try. So it says we give it 30 seconds. We need to be in idle. Okay, no relight. Let's see if we can do this. That looks better. That's not what it wants us to do though. Okay, I think we are going to have to accept that we are not going to have an engine 1. Let's see if we can start the APU. So we'll turn the master switch on. Let's see if we can actually get it running. I don't know if we will though, because we are missing... Okay, there we go. Flap open. And it's powering up. That should at least give us some power back. Okay, let's try once more with the APU now running when it's ready. See if once again if we can start the engine. I'm not hopeful, but all we can do is try. Okay, so the APU is now on. I don't know why our PTU is going crazy. Let's try and start the engine again. And I'm pretty sure we would have seen it start spooling up by now. It says give it 30 seconds, so that's what we'll do. I mean, this is increasing, but I'm guessing that's just because we're descending down into denser air, so the airflow is turning it. I mean, the N1 is not changing at all, and neither is the temperature, so there's 30 seconds. Right. So guys, definitely no engine 1 for our landing. I think I've only ever done an engine out landing once before. Why is the PTU freaking out so much? Let's turn the APU off. Please stop. Please. Oh my word, this is gonna kill me. Must be something I can do about this. Hang on. So that's the famous barking dog sound. If you ever flown on an Airbus, you would have heard that before. And people who don't know much about aircraft often go, why is there a dog barking? It's not a dog. It is the hydraulic PTU pump, which provides hydraulic pressure, and when it pressurizes, the valve that opens makes that dog barking noise, and mine won't stop for some reason. I'm hesitant to turn things off on the hydraulic panel because next thing, should we turn the PTU off? I mean, that's going to stop it, but is that going to break other things? That is the question. It seems to be fine. No barking dog sound, and nothing else is freaking out. So, if you just tuned in now, welcome to Springbok Flight 527 from Johannesburg to Durban, where absolutely everything is falling apart, and we currently only have one engine running. So thanks for joining, and you are welcome to suffer along with us. So probably should have put the seatbelts on a long time ago, if I'm honest. But we did let the passengers know, and they're very unhappy. Let's see their happiness at the moment. 32%. I'm getting great reviews for this flight. I hope they'll appreciate me landing them safely. I think that's the airport down here somewhere. Is it just me, or does it feel like we're really high? I mean, we're still at 10,000 feet. We need to be at 3,000 in the turn here. I guess we could be okay. I guess in this situation it's better to be a bit higher than not. But I am considering... Yeah, we're very high. Let's put it into vertical speed. And we can descend a little bit faster. So the airport should be just out this way. I am not seeing it. Oh, it's actually quite far behind us. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, we're not going to see it from here. Alright, almost time to start our left-hand turn. Quick and slow descent a little bit. Going into the clouds. Behind us by the airport it does seem clear. So the last thing we need to do is an IMC engine out landing. That'll be great. Okay, so let's pull the heading and we will start our turn here. So in reality this would be vectored by ATC, but we are not flying online. There's no ATC online in South Africa at the moment when I checked last, in any case, even if we were. I think what I'm going to do is just go direct to that next waypoint, which is 6 Yankee. And that should automatically put us into nav mode and take us direct to that waypoint. Looking good. Well, good is relative, right? And I must apologize to my flight computer because I increased our rate of descent, but I didn't realize that we were going to extend quite so far before we turned. So as you can see, the little green dot here telling me that I'm below where it was wanting us to be. Okay, let's just double check. And our QNH is still 1003, so let's put that in now. We'll get back onto our descent path here. So for those of you watching, let us know in the comments, do you think we're going to land safely and save all the passengers, or is it going to be a catastrophic ending to this short flight? Let's see how much faith you have in me. Even though this is probably the first time you've met me. And I say met very loosely. Okay, let's put on our landing system. So our... Okay, calm down, it's not that bad. Don't know why you're bracing yet. You're still far away from the runway. Just relax, it's gonna be fine. Okay, let's go on the approach. The localizer is alive, and the glide slope is alive too. And localizer is captured. We'll go flaps 1. Now, I don't want to slow right down to the approach speed with full flaps just yet, because I don't know if we will be able to maintain that with just one engine. So we're going to keep it 180 and we'll go flaps 2, and we will keep our last stages of flaps and our gear down till we're a bit closer, so we don't have to put all of that pressure on our one remaining engine. Again, not a real pilot, so I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but it makes sense to me. As you can hear, our one engine is working pretty hard just to keep this, and if we put all of our flaps and gear down, it's going to be a lot of drag, and I don't know if it's going to be able to power that all on its own. So we'll give it a bit of time. Once we hit the glide slope, we'll be descending, and there we go, glide slope is captured. Right, let's go and arm the spoilers.
2,500.
So once we're descending like this, I think we should be okay. So let's start slowing it down. And we'll go gear down. Please give me 3 greens.
2,000.
Oh no, don't tell me we have an issue with the gear as well. Yeah, it should have been down by now. Right. Please work. I mean, this is just ridiculous. We're gonna have to do a single engine gear up landing. I don't even know if you can do that in X-Plane. Yep. No gear. Okay.
Terrain.
1,000.
This is gonna be interesting.
Terrain.
Right, flaps 3.
Terrain.
And flaps 4.
Terrain.
And we will go full.
Terrain.
Stop. We are very high now. Pretty much taken manual control over everything at this point.
1,000.
I don't know. It says we should do a gravity extension on the gear. I don't know how to do that. Probably should. Let's put the gear up.
500.
Terrain.
400.
Pull up.
300.
I don't know if you can do a gear up landing in X-Plane, but I guess we're gonna find out. There's a very good chance we just die as soon as we hit the runway.
50.
Okay, we're idle now.
20. 10.
Let's try and do this as gently as possible. I just want to stall it into the runway. Oh, don't wobble. So that we land it as slow as we possibly can. Why does it feel like I'm on the runway? Okay, there should have been a lot more noise than that. But we've done it. Shut down the engines. Probably should have started the APU. But at this point, I don't really care. Let's just get out of this plane. Well, that was unexpected. I didn't know you could do that. There it is. I feel like the touchdown should have been a lot more violent, so maybe it's not fully modeled, but we didn't die. And there should be all sorts of fire trucks and emergency services racing to help us, which isn't that's also not normal, but we'll just ignore that. Okay, well, engine failure, we had a battery failure, and we had a gear extension failure. Actually, I just realized the gear issue might have been because I turned off the hydraulics. I think the PTU could have had that could have been why our gear didn't work. Also, I should have tried a manual extension, but I don't actually know. It's probably down here. Yeah, there it is. We should have tried that. In reality, we would have done a go around. I only had one engine though, so would you do a go around? Anyway, outcome was alright. We landed safely. Everyone's alive. And our PACX passengers are currently deboarding without dying. which is good. So I guess that's it for this stream. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in, thanks for the comments, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.